Yeah, I just wanted to share an experience that I had. I'm a broker here in San Diego County, and I believe this was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was representing a buyer. They're purchasing a listing that was in probate, and court confirmation was required. So thankfully, I had read most of the car legal articles about it years before, so I was pretty confident in the process. And well, long story short, I just want to say that I agree with you 1,000% when you said that a lot of the attorneys themselves don't know much about the real estate transaction side. They'll know. I mean, most of them they'll just specialize in whatever niche they're in. But for example, in this case, the attorney, they were sort of kind of pushing back at us about paying for certain things and certain closing costs that were pretty standard for the seller to pay. But the issue in the end was the attorneys didn't know that in real estate, buyers have to pay a certain fee after the expiration date for their interest rate lock, if it goes beyond a certain time frame. And so I was having an issue with the attorney not following up quick enough with the court to say, hey, when are we having the court date to settle this matter and get my client the house? And anyway, so I actually had to teach the attorney about the ins and outs and closing costs and everything about the transaction. So I would just tell everybody, don't feel like the attorney knows more than you. They might know more than you on some legal aspects, but I can bet you know pretty much more than them on the real estate transaction side.
One thing about attorneys I find, I was on the debate in high school and college. I was pre-law. So many of my friends went on to law. I decided not to go that way. But one of the common things about attorneys is they sound so good about things they know nothing about. I think part of the legal training is learning how to think on your feet and kind of extemporaneous answer questions. If you think about it, almost every single politician is an attorney. And politicians are the masters of sounding like they know what they're talking about when they know nothing about what they're talking about. That's the universal truth about politicians. And I think it's true about attorneys. And so it's hard to get them to admit they don't know something. I do real estate all day long. I do probate real estate every day. And the average attorney in LA County, I download the data. 95% of cases done by attorneys who've done one probate in the last 2 years or less. So how much do they really know? They've done one or less in the last 2 years. And real estate, how much do they know about real estate? Maybe they bought a house or two in the last 5 years. I closed 42 transactions last year. How could they possibly compare the knowledge of the business? And they rarely say, excuse me, I have a question. It's always, they know you're overcharged. Well, I know my buyers should have to pay for that. You're right, it can be very frustrating. So the challenge is you have to really create, that's why being an expert is so important, to create a sense of differentiation between you and all the other agents. If they think of you like an average agent, everything will be miserable with them. If they get right away that you're an expert, this is your domain, that they should defer to your judgment on. And again, respectfully ask questions. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I can improve my game every day. I try to. But generally, you would expect, when you ask an expert, you'd ask them a question, treat respectfully. So you got to work at that in that relationship early on and establish the relationship as one of peers. That's my goal. I dress like them when I see them. My business cards are like that. I have 2 sets of business cards, one for real estate, one for the attorneys that look like attorneys. When I go to court, I speak like an attorney, the judge. I want them to think of me as a peer, not as a lowly real estate agent. That's the challenge. That's the challenge my coach gave me, Chad gave me 3 years ago, and why I worked so hard and went to court to learn to be an expert. Not just to say I'm an expert, not just to have a website saying I'm an expert, not just that fancy marketing material saying I'm an expert, but to be an expert. And you can be one too. It's more mindset. You can be an expert today if your mindset is either I know the answer or I'll get the answer for you, rather than I'll bluff my way through. I talk to agents all the time. I'll call them up they know who I am, and they'll tell me how the court confirmation process works, and they're half of what they tell me is wrong. It happens all the time. I don't point it out to them. They're not asking me for career advice, so it's not my job to correct them unless they ask. But literally, I'll be on a phone with an agent after this phone call weekly, and they'll tell me, oh yeah, court confirmation, you have to blah, blah, blah. I say, and in my mind, I'm saying, you're such an idiot, you're wrong. But, you know, it's not my job to tell them that. So we don't want to be those agents. Don't be that agent. Be the expert that the attorney thinks of as a professional peer, not as some underling, a step up from an Uber driver.